Okay, time for more of the same, I guess. Oh, wait a minute. Why do I hear nothing but a giant heartbeat? Oh god. Oh god. It is the dreaded Cilia monster. This is the freakiest enemy in any game ever. Holy crap. Is that thing ever big? And in this case, there's only one sound worse than that heartbeat. The boss music! You know, for some reason I can accept just about everything about this monster, but the eye lasers just cross the line into absurdity somehow. Now this is where the game gets decidedly less cool in my opinion. The instruction manual refers to this level as the intestinal channel, but it makes a somewhat jarring transition from all the organs and viscera to what looks kind of like a space station. What the hell game am I playing now? I mean, it makes sense that if this creature swallowed a lot of mechanical stuff, that you'd be seeing a lot of it at some point. And don't get me wrong, it's still nice graphics and it looks cool, but they kind of take it too far and basically took out what made this game unique to begin with. And the bosses you fight in this level are all robots. The second one doesn't even look all that interesting and doesn't move much. That's about it. By the way, this one boss fight that consists of 3 robots, this is as far as I ever got when I was a kid. I can't believe I ever got that far without any cheat codes. I got this far just out of pure tenacity. Good times. Zoom down the tube of death.
I gotta sing the Doom song now!
Aside from the change in scenery, the game has another fault. I know you can't tell because of the invincibility code, but it is very, very hard. One hit kills you. There are little projectiles everywhere. You can't touch the walls, and there are some corridors that are very, very tight. You do get power-ups, but as soon as you die, you lose them, and you start right back at the beginning of the level. Now, I'm not saying that difficulty is a bad thing. It's just that this level of difficulty just isn't what I like in a game anymore. Just be warned that this game is brutal. And now we meet the final boss. I wouldn't say that it's the scariest boss in the game. The Cilia monster definitely wins that prize. But it's probably the most unique and detailed. It kind of looks like the love child of Audrey 2 and...
That's right, boy!
A scorpion? Well, at least the developers finally got tired of eyeballs. And for some reason it's shooting ghosts at me. Does that mean that Parasitus's former victims haunt its insides? Okay, I don't want to think about that, it's just too weird. Once you destroy the boss, you get to rescue Princess Maria.
I hate bowling.
Yeah, not that Maria, thank God. Who is now, for some reason, really small and inside a sphere. Whatever. You probably thought that beating the final boss meant the end of the game, right? Wrong! You get to go ridiculously fast and try to dodge all these structures. I told you this game was brutal. And here's one more thing to think about. You go in through the mouth, then through the body. Where do you think you're gonna come out?
The butt!
Yeah. Okay, as much as I love this game, I have to admit that it suffers from bad box art-itis. Okay, it doesn't compare with Mega Man. But I do get the impression that at least this artist has drawn a human being before. Okay, I guess it isn't technically that bad, just cheesy and inaccurate. I can't believe this is supposed to be Deathface. He looks like a big slug with teeth. Is that a flying saucer? And what's up with the main character? Shouldn't he be in some kind of mecha suit? I don't think that a couple yards of colorful spandex and a helmet are going to give you much protection. Not to mention that he just looks like something out of a low-budget sci-fi movie from the 70s. Well, at least they got the title right. No, seriously, it looks awesome. Better than the title screen in the game, even. Oh, and look who put out this game in America. Yeah, the company that put out Connect 4 and Hungry Hungry Hippos also put out one of the goriest NES games ever made. I freaking love it. Despite some of my complaints about Abadox, I think that some of the visuals are so cool. It'd be interesting to see how well they would translate to, say, a modern 3D shooter. Yeah, I would love to see an attempt at a remake of this game. So I kinda tried to make one. Well, not really. I'm not a programmer, and I don't even know any 3D programmers, so about all I could do was play around with character and monster designs, along with the 3D modeling and animation. I don't expect it to ever be finished since I haven't touched it in years, not to mention I'm just too busy these days, but at least it was a good excuse to pad my portfolio and learn some new things about using 3D Studio Max. I did a lot of these little test renders just to kind of get a feel for what some of the creatures in the game would look like. Here's a test render I did of a simple nerve center type area. It's not much to look at structure-wise, but I mainly made it to play around with volumetric fog, which I had never really done before. Of course, the ones I worked on the most are the main character, my first attempt at a mecha design actually, and the Cilia monster. And I know these are kind of low poly. I did these just before the latest generation of systems came out, and I guess I was playing it a bit safe with the polygon count. These two videos coming up are actually about the most complete I've ever made. Usually I just model a character or two and never get beyond that. This first one was my first attempt at doing lip sync. The voice and sound effects are going to sound very familiar if you're a fan of Transformers.
Okay, let's straighten out this mess. Disarmament, acid pellet style.
The second is a simulation of what the Cilia monster level might look like. It's shorter than the original, and it's very unfinished, but hopefully you can see where I was going with it. I actually lost most of this stuff a long time ago. All that's left is the concept art and renders. That's fine though, most of this stuff would have to be redone if I was ever to get serious about it anyway. As for what the game would be like, I think giving the main character a flashlight, a la Silent Hill, would be interesting. And it would make sense, since the inside of a monster wouldn't exactly be brightly lit. And since I'm not big on first-person shooters, I'd go with a more survival horror look. Basically, the way I imagine this game looking on the current generation of systems would involve enemies and areas that resemble those from Abadox in an engine that's very similar to Silent Hill Homecoming. That would kick ass. Well, that about sums up this episode on Abadox. If you're a fan of space shooters, you could probably think of better ones to play, but at least this one is pretty unique as far as the general look of it. And if you're into horror games, blood and guts and all that good stuff, this is a pretty good place to get your fix. Well, that's it for now. See you next time.